former lowlife, but now people call me the king. Tearing it up with every lyric that I bring to the table. Because I'm willing and able, I'm in more homes than Comcast cable. I got the skill that'll rattle your brain. I'm a threat like Saddam Hussein, everybody know my name. Joe Habib's a top soldier, kid they should have told you, you really need to pack a lunch. My words hit hard just like a Tyson punch, so give me a chance, I bet you I can make you dance. Show me your girl, I bet you I get in her pants. I'm breaking egos and money is what I'm stacking. Joe Habib on the mic, you know I'm down for action. Shout out to Make Beats Sir and the Beat Smith and the whole Rope a Dope radio crew. Yeah.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Good morning. Well, once again, I find myself in a similar position that I found myself after the first Pacquiao-Bradley fight, after the first Andre Ward-Sergey Kovalev fight, right? Where my decision and my scorecard in the court of public opinion was not the same as everyone else's. So I'm in the minority here in the court of public opinion because I do think, or I did have Devin Haney winning this fight. But as I said yesterday, when talking to people on the phone, having private conversations with people this morning, I said that this fight was a close fight, right? Could have gone either way. In my own humble opinion, I don't think there was a clear winner in this fight. And that's just my opinion. Now, I know people are going to say this fight was a robbery or it was a bad decision. And if that's your feeling on this fight, I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I'm not here to change your mind. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. I'll respect it. I'm not going to go back and forth and argue why we're in disagreement, right? Because once again, boxing is a very subjective sport. The scoring's all over the place. And generally, when we look at fights like this and people have scored the fight, my opinion always is, okay, well, if you thought that one guy clearly won this fight, right? Let's all look at each other's scorecards and let's see if we were all in agreement on 7 rounds that one specific person won on all of our scorecards, or the majority of our scorecards. If that was the general consensus that we all gave, or the majority of us gave one guy 7 rounds, and we were all in agreement with those 7 rounds, then okay, I can understand it a little bit better. But my opinion, let's take a look at the official judges' scorecards. And I know that there's some controversy here with that 10th round, Dave Moretti. But even if Dave Moretti does give that round to Lomachenko, he would still have Haney winning the fight 115 or 113, right? So if you look at these scorecards, the judges were in agreement on 7 of the rounds, right? They were in agreement with 7 of the rounds, right? And here's the interesting thing. On those 7 rounds that they agreed on, right, 5 of those rounds were Haney rounds, and 2 of those rounds were Lomachenko rounds, right? And if I look at my scorecard, I was in agreement with the judges on 5 rounds. And in those 5 rounds, right, that I was in agreement with the judges, 4 of those rounds I gave to Haney, and 1 round I gave to Lomachenko in terms of being in agreement with the judges. Now, I want to take a look and compare my scorecard to Boxing Scene, because Boxing Scene is a website that I have a high level of respect for, and they scored this fight a dead draw, right? And I was in agreement with 9 of the rounds with Boxing Scene's scorecard, right? And once again, in those rounds that I was in agreement with Boxing Scene, I had, we had Haney winning, right? On the rounds that I was in agreement with Boxing Scene, 1, 2, 3, 4. We were in agreement with 5 Haney rounds and 4 Loma rounds. So all of these scorecards that I was in agreement with in terms of the rounds, the majority of the rounds that I was in agreement with people with the judges or Boxing Scene, the majority of the rounds, we had Haney winning, right? At least the rounds that I was in agreement with, right? So this was a very hard fight to score, and I know a lot of people say that and said that, but I just think it's true. Now, people are looking at the punch stats, and we'll take a look at the punch stats because it's, Lomachenko threw more punches and landed more punches, but he only landed 14 more punches than Devin Haney. And if you break it down round by round, Haney outlanded Lomachenko in 5 rounds, and Lomachenko outlanded Haney in 5 rounds, right? And 2 of those rounds were dead even. But here's the big discrepancy here. In rounds 10 and 11, Lomachenko outlanded Devin Haney 31-7. So in rounds 10, Haney only landed 5 punches and Lomachenko landed 2 punches. So as I said, you break this down round by round, and that's how you score the fight. And some of these rounds that Lomachenko won, like the 10th and the 11th round, those rounds were the 2 most dominant rounds in the fight. And some of these rounds that Haney was winning, I think a lot of people gave Haney rounds 4 and 5. But those rounds were competitive. Like round 5, Haney outlanded Lomachenko by 1 punch. Round 4, I think, was a little bit more clearer. He landed 11 to Lomachenko's 6. So, Beeb, why did you score this fight for Devin Haney? I thought the body work was excellent in this fight. I did think that this fight was fought at close range, and I was surprised that it was fought at close range for as much of the fight that it was. I didn't think that Haney would fight Lomachenko at close range. Now you can argue maybe Lomachenko was getting inside, but it seemed like Haney was stepping to him early in the fight and was making a concerted effort to go to that body. And I thought he did well with the body. Of the punches Devin Haney landed, close to 50% of the punches Devin Haney landed, right, were body shots, right? And I thought one punch that was pretty effective for Devin Haney as well was the left hook. He was landing the short left hook inside off the body shots. And when he threw the right hand, he wasn't really throwing it, straight rights, overhand rights. He wasn't throwing it, in that fashion. Majority of the time when he was landing that right hand, it was either like a 45-degree angle or kind of an uppercut. So you can argue that Haney fought Lomachenko's fight, right, for a great period of this fight, right? You can argue that Lomachenko was the ring general, because the perception was Haney was a taller, longer guy. You would think that he would try to keep Lomachenko at a distance, right? But Haney decided, and he said before the fight, I'm going to take it to him, right? And that's what he did. He wanted to fight him up close. He wanted to go to the body, and the only way to go to the body, that was in the game plan. We're going to land a lot of body shots because we don't believe that he's particularly good at defending body shots, and he doesn't react very well to body shots, and no one really reacts well to body shots. But Lomachenko, they felt, you know, didn't like it even more than most people, right? He was more vulnerable to the body than most fighters, right? They thought that was his weak spot, so they made a concerted effort to go there. And you can see out of the 110 punches that were landed, 50 of them were body shots. So because of the way Haney chose to fight this fight, right? He wasn't using the jab as much as you would think he would. Similar to the Jojo Diaz fight, where Haney decided, you know what? I'm going to fight this guy, right? I think Haney's listening to a lot of people who criticize him and say that he's not the most exciting fighter in the world. So I think now he's trying to probably change people's opinions on that. He wants to try to become more exciting, I guess, or he wants to establish himself in there as not just a boxer, but I can stand and hold my ground and hold my own when I have to. So when you look at these stats, Devin Haney landed 110 punches. Lomachenko landed 124. So Lomachenko landed 22% of his punches, whereas Haney landed 27% of his. So generally, when you see a statistic like someone only landing 22% of their punches, that doesn't mean that the 22% of the punches weren't effective punches. But once again, 22%, right, from Lomachenko, when he's used to landing like in the 40s, right, particularly with the power shots. He landed 95 power shots while Devin Haney landed 90. All right. And as I said, the majority of those shots were body punches. 49 of those shots were body punches for Haney. 9 punches were body shots for Lomachenko. So this fight was razor close, guys, in my opinion. It just really was. And if you disagree. But when you break it down and you just look at this fight, later on, yeah, Lomachenko was having some success with the left hand, right? But Haney had his moments too. He did better in the first half. If I look at the first half of this fight, first 6 rounds, I had it 4-2 for Haney. Second, I had it even, actually. Second half of this. Actually, I'm sorry. I had it even. I had it even. Second half of the fight. I gave Haney 7 and 8, and I gave him the 12th, but I gave Lomachenko 9, 10, and 11. Now, a lot of people gave Haney round 9. So again, this fight was close, man. The rounds are all over the place. But the judges agreed on 7 of the 12 rounds. And once again, the big controversy is that 10th round for Dave Moretti. I get it. But if you flip that, he still has Haney winning 115 and 113. So I'm not here to run interference for Devin Haney. I'm really not. I'm just explaining my scorecard, why I came to it, right? I thought that Haney landed a lot of clean body shots early in the fight. Those were clean. You could see that Lomachenko's ribs and the side of his body were red. And in the early part of this fight, Lomachenko wasn't really landing clean upstairs, right? And he didn't really start landing flush, in my opinion, until rounds like 9, 10, and 11. So a lot of those shots, in my opinion, those left-hand shots, they landed early, but they weren't really flush. Whereas those body shots from Haney and a few of those left hooks were pretty clean. So Yeah, I thought early in the fight, Haney's, even though that their punch output was similar, Haney's might have been slightly higher, but I thought early on Haney was landing cleaner shots. He was landing cleaner shots, and Loma didn't start landing the clean shots. To me, the real flush shots, the flashy shots, the ones that would get the judge's attention. In my opinion, until like rounds 9, 10, and 11, right? 9, 10, and 11. So I had this fight razor close, guys. I just thought it was razor close. And I think when you people want to point to the punch stats, what really happened was, and this happens a lot, and I know the commentator said this, and I've said this before, you just saw that 10th and 11th round, which was a snapshot in time, where Haney was really getting hit. He was buzzed, and he was being pushed back. People looked at those 2 rounds, even in round 9, that some people gave that round to Haney, some people gave that round to Lomachenko. Even in round 9, where I thought Lomachenko landed hotter shots, I thought he got Haney's attention in that round. Even in that round, Haney still outlanded him. But again, the one glaring number here is the jabs. I mean, Lomachenko landed 29, Haney landed 20. Lomachenko threw 250 jabs. Haney only threw 188. But again, I think that all boils down to the game plan of Haney. I wanted to take it to him and go to the body. So, like I said, I really do believe this fight was very, very close. I really thought it was a great fight. I thought it was a very tactical fight from both fighters. I thought both fighters did good things in there. And I do think, though, when Haney was on the outside, right, as Bradley said, he wasn't able to slip that left hand when there was like a little bit of space in the those mid-range left hooks, those mid-range straight lefts that Lomachenko was landing. He had a hard time dealing with those later in the fight. But, Lomachenko was right there for those body shots, right? He wasn't moving a ton in the early part of the fight. He didn't start getting it going, to me, until like the 8th round. That's when he started cranking it up. Right? I don't really think he got off to a fast start. Now he got off to a faster start than he did against Tio. I'll give him that. But it still wasn't like he set the world on fire with his pace early on. What really stood out was that 10th and 11th round, where he threw like 49 punches and 50 punches in that 10th and 11th round. That's when he started really pouring it on, in my opinion. So even in the rounds, even in some of these rounds where he out punched Devin Haney, he just wasn't clean. He wasn't landing. So I got to be honest. I mean, I thought it was a solid performance from both guys, but Lomachenko only landing 22% of his punches, right? And landing 30% of his power punches, while Devin Haney landed 41% of his. Like, again, this was just, for me, in my own opinion, I just thought Devin Haney in the first half of this fight, for almost up until like the 8th round, was just landing a tad bit cleaner because of the body work. The body work was very clean body work, very clean punches. And I just don't think Lomachenko was really landing clean until the second half of the fight. So, like I said, boxing scene had it a draw, right? Boxing scene had it a draw. I had it 115 to 113 for Haney. You had it 115 to 113 for Loma. I get it. Some people had it 116 to 112 for Loma. No problem with the scores, but I'm just explaining why this fight, in my opinion, could have gone either way. Really could have gone either way. Because those 2 rounds, like you had rounds 1 and 9, those were close. Like a lot of these rounds were close, and you could hear it during the broadcast where they were saying round after round, these rounds are tough to score. This is a close fight, right? Now Max Kellerman had it 115 and 113 for Loma, but he gave the 12th round to Loma, and he said he had edged it to him by a hair. Now, if Max Kellerman gives that 12th round to Haney, like all 3 judges did, like I did, like the majority of the people did, then he would have had this fight a draw. So I just don't think, honestly, in my opinion, we can say there was a clear winner here. I don't. I just don't. And it's my opinion. I think it's a disservice to both fighters by calling this fight a robbery. I mean, I just don't think that should be the focal point after this fight. Now, I get it. I understand why it's being said, because the majority of the people, and like everyone I'm talking to, like 75% of the people, when I'm looking at polls, right? Anecdotally, court of public opinion, 75% of the people had Lomachenko winning this fight. So my opinion is statistically insignificant. I agree with that. I'm not going to argue against that. This isn't about who's right and who's wrong. But I'm here to just give the other side. I'm here to just give the other side. And the crowd was booing at the end, right? But interestingly enough, even before the fight started, that crowd was pro-Loma. That crowd was pro-Loma, right? Now, I'm not saying, they were biased towards, that's why they booed. They could have very well believed that the scorecard or the decision was a bad decision. I'm not disagreeing with that. But it was a pro-Loma crowd. Like, they were chanting Loma's name right from the beginning of that fight. So in my opinion, again, this is my opinion. It's my opinion, right? No matter what happened, they were going to boo Devin Haney. Because Lomachenko, he was the vet. He was the guy that got pushed at the weigh-in. So they were going to boo Devin Haney no matter what happened. Devin Haney was the heel. He was the cocky young kid who wasn't giving the old vet his credit, right? And I believe that shove had something to do with it. That added a little bit of fuel to the fire. So regardless of what happened, in my opinion, Devin Haney was going to get booed either way. I mean, he was getting booed during the introductions. Like I said, they were cheering for Loma. They were chanting his name. And I'm hoping that Maestro calls into our show tonight. I really do. I really hope that he calls into the show tonight, because he was there, and I really want to get his reaction on how the atmosphere was at that fight. But I feel for Loma. I understand. This was his last chance, they say. I don't think it's his last chance. I think because this fight was so close and competitive, and Lomachenko did some good things. It was a great performance from both guys. Both guys did good things in there. You got to give credit for Haney for landing those body shots, for landing those short hooks on the inside, for landing that sneaky right uppercut on the inside. But one punch that was absent was the overhand right and the straight right down the pike. Wasn't throwing that a lot. He was trying to throw those up and under shots. A lot of the shots Haney was trying to land in this fight, ironically enough, was the short hook on the inside and those 45s with either hand from the mid-range to up close region. Right? So, I'm just being honest. I do think the fight could have gone either way. But because most people had Lomachenko winning, I understand why people are going to call it a robbery. Right? And Tim Bradley and Andre Ward, they've been here before. Tim Bradley was here in the same situation Devin Haney was in after his fight with the first fight with Pacquiao. Same thing for Andre Ward after his first fight with Kovalev. So I know people were listening to that broadcast, and I've had conversations with people, and they were saying, well, why are they being, if they really like thought this fight could have gone either way, why are they being apologists for Devin Haney? Well, again, they have their phones there. They're looking at social media. They're listening to the response of the majority of people, right? And they were there before in similar situations in their career in specific fights. So they know what Devin Haney's going through right now, or, they understand the public outcry because it was directed at them at one point in their career. Even myself, to this day, I get insulted because I had Bradley winning the first fight. I had Bradley edging at 115 and 113 against Pacquiao. I thought that was a very close fight. Could have gone either way. Same thing. Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. I had Golovkin winning that fight 7-5. But if you had that fight a draw, right? If you had that fight a draw, then I get it. You swing one round, it's a draw. I wasn't outraged by the draw. I really wasn't. Just because I had Golovkin winning that fight. It was a close fight. But there was that one round similar to this fight, just like that fight. You had that one controversial round where I believe it was Glenn Feldman that gave round 7 to Canelo Alvarez. And if he gave it to Golovkin, right, Golovkin would have won the fight by split decision. Or I think it would have been split. Yeah, it would have been split decision. He would have won the fight. Because like Feldman had it a draw. And if he scored the 7th round, which, from what I think would have been correct by giving it to Golovkin, right? And then you had the other wide scorecard for Canelo. So that's what kind of set the stage for that fight. Took the luster and just sucked the air out of that fight, because you had some controversy with that. I think 118 and 110 scorecard, and then you had the that round that it looked like Golovkin's most dominant round in the fight, but for whatever reason, it was given to Canelo, which was very interesting. It was very interesting. So this is a fight where you would say that, yeah, there should be a rematch here, but you're probably not going to get it. I think the only fight that Devin Haney will stay at 135 for, in my opinion, is Tank Davis. And if you're Tank Davis and you see this, you're looking, you gotta be saying to yourself, look at all those left hands Loma was landing flush later in the fight. Imagine if I'm landing those left hands, I'm putting this dude to sleep. So if I'm Tank Davis and I'm Tank Davis's people, I try to get this fight at 135 because the guy's busting out at the seams, right? Showed some vulnerability yesterday. Definitely showed some vulnerability. So if I'm Tank Davis, I'm jumping on this. If I'm Devin Haney, the only fight I stay down at 135 at is Tank Davis. And if I'm Tank Davis, I jump on this fight. And if Tank doesn't fight him, I don't understand why he wouldn't. I don't understand why he wouldn't. What's up, brother?
Joe, what's up?
How did you have it scored? What did you think of the fight? Do you think this fight was a robbery, or do you think it was a close fight? Do you think it could have gone either way? What is your take on this fight? Because once again, I find myself in the minority with a statistically insignificant opinion based on the court of public opinion. What are you?
Joe, I didn't watch the fight live, but I did watch the replay. There's actually a couple of videos out there that's got HD, which is really good. Because I actually watched the Cameron and Taylor fight instead because I had to do some assignment. But anyways, after watching the replay, I thought Haney won, but because a lot of people, I thought Loma won. But because a lot of people thought that Haney won, I watched it again, right, just to see. And I can see that being a draw because Loma his body work was really good.
Haney's.
Yeah, sorry, Haney's body work was really good, like especially early on. It just surprised me that Haney couldn't hurt Loma, but Loma could hurt Haney, especially in that 11th round.
Yeah, he buzzed him.
Yeah, because I was actually watching the international feed, and even Chris Algieri said, "Hey, Haney's legs are gone. Loma should go after him. Like he should walk him down, kind of like what Pacquiao did to Morales in the rematch. Go after him, right?" But he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
For a brief second in that 11th round, I actually thought Haney was in danger of getting knocked out. He was hurt. Yeah. He was hurt in that round.
Chris Algieri said that if I think it was right around the 30 seconds left, because if Lomachenko walks him down, he could stop this. This fight could be stopped, but he didn't do it. He went for the safety first, and I was a bit perplexed because in that fight I didn't think that Haney hurt Loma at all. Whereas in the you could clearly see that Loma's power was hurting Haney because he would snap his head back all the time whenever he connects. Whereas when Haney connected on Loma's head wasn't snapping back. So
to be fair, even the body shots, they weren't deterring Lomachenko. Even though they were landing clean and they were reddening up his midsection, still didn't stop him from moving later in that fight.
He should have slowed down Loma with those body shots, but he didn't, which meant that it didn't really affect him that much.
I'm going to be honest with you. If there was a rematch and Haney takes a look at this tape, and I think going in his plan, I think they said this, we're going to go to the body because he particularly doesn't like it to the body. We're going to slow him down. After looking at him not being slowed down by those body shots, maybe they would try to fight this fight from range. And you saw in the middle rounds, what had happened was he started backing up a little bit and started trying to fight from range, and he did okay.
Hey, Beebs, I give credit to Devin Haney because this is the second fight in a row now where he hasn't clinched. Because in that Kambosos fight, he clinched like there's no tomorrow. Because I was there. It was boring as hell. The rematch with Kambosos and this fight here, very exciting to watch. And I love that about Haney because that's not Haney's game. And the fact that he did that because the fans wanted him to do it, I like that. He's got my respect.
I think he's listening to the critics.
I like that. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think he's listening to the critics that have complained about the holding. And I do think he's making a concerted effort to try to be a little bit more offensive-minded and engage more. I was a little surprised at one thing, and maybe this was due to Lomachenko moving his head, getting low. I was surprised that Devin Haney couldn't land the right over the top or down the middle. When he landed it, it was more of a looping shot or an up and under 45-degree or uppercut type shot, right?
Maybe it was because Loma's footwork,
and you could argue that the jab was taken away because Lomachenko was quick on his feet, and he was throwing little foot feint on the way in, and he kind of froze Haney a little bit, and Haney couldn't get that timing down possibly. I mean,
if Loma had a bit of pop at 135, I think he would have knocked out Haney because Haney was there to be hit. He hit him so many clean shots, so many. It's just that Loma, he doesn't have power at 135, man. He has enough power so that people can't bulldoze him. But if he had a little bit of pop, like say Tank Davis, oh no, it's all over for Haney, man.
Yeah, so Tank Davis got to be looking at this and saying, "Damn, Shakur Stevenson said the same thing." He's like, he's like, if Tank Davis lands that left hand, I don't know if Haney's going to be able to, if you're Tank Davis, you should fucking jump at this fight right now, bro. I'm just saying.
It's a good money fight too, Peeps.
It's a huge money fight for Devin Haney, and I think it'll be a good good money fight for Tank Davis. You sell this as the undisputed fight, the fight for legitimacy. You know,
The talk as well.
yeah, because some people think that Tank's the best in this division, and some people think that's it's Shakur Stevenson, but technically, Devin Haney has all the titles, so statistically, he's the top guy, but there's question marks. So if you're Tank, you got to jump on this fight now.
Yeah, I agree.
Got to jump on this fight now.
Hey, Beavis, who would have thought that 10 years ago, 2013, that we would see, like, if Haney and Tank fight, that could easily do $1 million again for Tank. Who would have thought that at lightweight that a pay-per-view could do that many buys?
Yeah. I was saying that originally. I was saying that Ryan versus Tank was going to do 800, but then as I started listening to people talk about the fight, watching all the videos on TikTok and YouTube, and then I started saying I think this is going to do $1 million, maybe one. My official prediction for this fight was like 1.1 million, 1.1. I think when it's all said and done, this is going to come. That fight's going to come in at 1.4. But
well, that's because Beeps, they included the international pay-per-views.
I'm not sure if they did that. I'm not sure if they did that.
But Beeps, I predicted 750. That's because it's just North America. It doesn't count like what's pay-per-view in England and wherever.
Yeah, I don't did those though, because you have to understand. There's a lot of digital markets now for pay-per-view.
Correct.
A lot of digital markets, and those digital markets, those buys come in later. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was North American or if that was everybody. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused on that, but I think Tank beats. I think if Tank fought Haney now, I think Tank would beat him. I said before the fight. I said after the Ryan fight, I thought Tank would beat Haney. I thought Tank would beat Haney.
Now that I've seen this fight here, where Haney might change his game plan because he sees this as a super risky fight, he might go back to clinching again. He might not get hit that often anymore because he knows how dangerous Tank Davis is.
He's not going to try and stand there and go and like throw body shots with Tank in fear of getting hit with that left hand over the top. He's going to fight differently.
Yeah, because he knows Loma is not. He doesn't have any pop at 135.
Yeah, see, Toby Barlett was saying in the UK that Davis Garcia fight was not pay-per-view anyway. So
okay,
yeah,
and good for Tank, man. I never knew that a lightweight could do 1.2 million. Even Mayweather didn't do 1. He only did like 300, 400 when he was at
Mayweather was 31 years old when he started doing big pay-per-view numbers, bro. 31.
Hey, Beeps, even Pacquiao 135 didn't do 1.2 million. He Diaz, I think only did 300,000.
Yeah. I said before this fight, like I said, people in the chat are agreeing and stuff. I said before this fight that I think Tank would beat Haney now, and this kind of just confirms it for me that Tank would beat Haney. Now Shakur's on a different level. I don't think any of these guys beat Shakur. I think Shakur is the best at lightweight. I think Devin's going to stay away from Shakur as long as he has to. That fight's going to be fought at a higher weight class. I think that fight would probably happen at 140. Now, here's an interesting thing: when Devin moves up to 140, I don't think he has enough power to keep these guys honest, to keep these guys off him.
He'll beat Ramirez, though.
You think he'd beat Ramirez?
Yeah,
he could probably beat Ramirez. That would be a close one, but I could see Ramirez beating him too. I don't think he beats Prograis. I don't think he beats Josh Taylor. Him versus Teo would be very interesting because we saw what happened. We saw what happened with Sandor Martin and Teo. Like if Devin decides to kind of fight on the outside a little bit, move, and tries to hold, like he may, like you said, he may go back to the old Devin Haney if he was to fight guys like Tank and Teo, right? You may see a lot more holding, a lot more strategic holding and freezing up on the action, right? You may see that little jab and grab style come back from Haney, fighting those power guys.
If I was Devin Haney's manager, which is his father, right? I think
yes.
I would go for that tank fight because it's a big.
That's what I would do. You got to go for the tank fight.
Side, but he'll get it. It'll be like a 70-30 type of a fight. He'll probably get what 12, 15 million. I mean, go for that, man. He's not going to get that at 140.
That could do $1 million pay-per-view buys too.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah,
there was a lot of. I mean, I don't know. They were talking about this fight a little bit mainstream. Some of those First Take shows and the Undisputed shows, like some of those mainstream sports talk shows, they were talking about this fight a little bit, and I'm sure people that were watching were kind of getting some advertisement and stuff like that. They were listening in. They were being led to be interested in this fight. I think they were given some good promotion from a lot of those regular sports shows on ESPN and Fox. Even Fox Sports was talking about it a little bit. So I think that ESPN does a good job at promoting and advertising fights. And I think they would, if they were to do a co-promotion, ESPN and Showtime with this fight, or maybe Devin just goes to Showtime for this fight.
Yeah, he's a free agent, man. That's a point of
free agent. He'll probably just go to Show. I could see Devin Haney going signing like a 2-fight deal with Showtime.
Yeah, you just do that, man. Just
not with Showtime, but with PBC. I could see him signing a 2-fight deal with PBC.
This is his last fight at ESPN, right?
Yeah.
So just make it easy for everyone. But I hope it's not like I hope Al Haymon doesn't give him a crappy deal like what he gave to Bud Crawford though. Like make it fair, man. Like no hidden statements on the contract and shit like that, because I think that's what Bud Crawford didn't sign that contract because there's too many ambiguity in the contract. There's also some people out there that say that there might be some obstacles on Tank's side. I don't see any, man, because usually with he's not with Mayweather anymore, but he may have caught some of Mayweather's tactics where if he sees that there's a risk, I'm not taking that. I'll just wait until it gets.
It's very discouraging. I was watching Tank on a podcast, and one of the hosts asks him, "Hey man, don't you look at this division and say, yeah, I want to fight Devin. I want to fight Loma. I want to fight Shakur." And he turns and looks at the guy and says, with a straight face, "No, I never really thought about that." How the fuck can you be in this division and not think of fighting either of the three of those guys? How the fuck could you do that, bro?
Hey, Beebs, at least it's honest.
That's fucking mind-boggling to me.
At least it's honest, dude. I even remember when
and lie about it, even if you haven't. So yeah, those are to say, oh yeah, those would be good fights. But he's looks at him and says "No, I never thought about that." And I'm like, what the? How could you fucking never think about fighting either of those three guys? Any of those three guys? How could you not think about that?
Well, look, even when he was asked about fighting, what's his name, Isaac Cruz for a rematch, he said to the guy who's on Fox Sports or Showtime or whatever, he said, "No, I don't want to fight a rematch." In fact, it was right after the fight when he got interviewed. He said, "No, I don't want to fight a rematch." So, hey, man, at least it's honest. I prefer that than someone saying, "Yeah, I'll fight him. I'll fight him tomorrow, anytime, anywhere, any place," and he doesn't actually fight him. So
I think Raleigh's going to fight Ryan.
Oh, I love that fight, Beaves, at 140.
I think the event would be hilarious. I know a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't like Raleigh. He doesn't deserve it. Why? Blah 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 blah. I just think it's a huge event, and I know O'Hara Davis was saying, "Oh, I signed something that says I'm going to get the winner." Again, when does the WBA ever fucking do what they say they're gonna? Like any of these sanctioning bodies, what they'll end up doing? Well, Raleigh Raleigh and his team will probably file an exception with the WBA. They'll find a way to get that fight through.
Hey, babes, that's a promotional dream, man. Raleigh versus Ryan Garcia, because both
that'd be hilarious.
both are idiots, right? It's like, especially Rolly, it's like a promotional dream. Like the All Access would be like, I'm actually, if that fight happens, I'm actually looking forward to the first episode of the All Access because it would be hilarious, especially Rolly, because Rolly just does like, and it reminds me a bit of like, remember when Paulie Malignaggi was fighting Miguel Cotto and he was like saying all of this crap about, he's going to knock out Miguel Cotto and blah, blah, blah. And no one really believed him, and people thought that he was a bit of a wanker per se. It kind of reminds me a bit of that. Like,
Yeah.
And he sold that fight too. That fight in Madison Square Garden was huge. It was huge. It was so loud too on TV. It was like Trinidad versus William Joppy, even like that sort of an atmosphere. Or like Prince Hassim Hamed versus what's his name? Who's that guy that he was a black guy? Damn, what's his name?
Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly. Oh my God, that was a great atmosphere at Madison Square Garden.
Were you there?
No. I was really young at that time. But I have been to Madison Square Garden though. I went to the Cotto Martinez fight.
What do you think of this fight next week between Lee Wood and Mauricio Lara? Who do you like there?
Oh, Bronco Lara, man. Boom, KO again.
That was a good fight, though, wasn't it?
Man, he KOs any of those British guys. Like, it's his second home, man. Like, yeah, it'll be a knockout, man. I think he's the best at 126. I wouldn't mind him and Navarrete if Navarrete goes back to 126, but he probably won't. But
yeah.
I like Lara, man. Even, hey, Bibbs, I don't know if you watch pro boxing. Who's that Spanish girl who's like, she looks like Storm from X-Men. She thinks that Bronco Lara could be like a successor to Canelo. I was thinking, what? What are you talking about? Like, it's a bit far-fetched.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Who looks like Storm from X-Men? You talk about a female boxer?
No, she's a female commentator. She's like a pro Canelo.
Is it Claudia Treos?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, she thinks that Bronco Lara could be Canelo's successor. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
Hey,
what did you think? What did you think of the fight? Yeah, I was about to ask you. What did you think about Cameron versus Katie Taylor? I had that fight. I had it a draw.
What?
Yep.
No, I thought Cameron won.
How'd you score it?
I probably had it like maybe 6-4. Cameron.
So you didn't score it. So you didn't score it then.
Sorry.
You didn't score it.
No, I mean like when I was looking. I don't look, to be honest, I don't score it round by round. I just wait until the end, and then I say, it's like 6-4 or whatever.
It's not how you can't do it that way.
I know.
You can't do it that way.
I know.
One of the judges had it a draw too.
Oh yeah, I know. I was thinking to myself, hey Beeps, they're gonna rob this girl, man.
I didn't think she was. Well, when they said, I don't know. I kind of thought that they could have given it, like they were going to probably give it. I don't know. I thought they were going to give it to Cameron.
Hey, Beebs, Katie Taylor's legs are gone now. I don't know if it's the
you think so?
weight, but dude, she was fighting inside, and she was like that falls into Cameron's game plan because she's good at uppercuts, and she's the bigger girl. Man, those uppercuts were killing Katie Taylor.
Yeah,
I don't know why she was trying to fight from the inside. That's not her game. That's not Katie Taylor's game. Her game is like distance and combinations. I think her legs is gone. Man.
She's a good inside fighter, but here's the problem. I guess she's gone away from her body punching. She's turned into a headhunter. If you look at that fight, Cameron was the one who was throwing a lot of body shots. I was surprised. But I was talking to people on the round table, Ring IQ. He was telling me Katie's been abandoning her body attack for years, these last couple of recent fights. So
I actually thought before the fight, I was going for Katie Taylor. I thought she was going to pull it out again, like in the last 2 rounds or whatever.
Yeah.
But this time she couldn't do it, man. And also after the fight, Chantel Cameron said that, like Usyk saying to Canelo, she said, "I will go down at 135 and fight for your belts for the rematch. We're not going back to my weight class again." She said that we'll go back to 135 and fight for your belts, because there's a rematch clause for this fight between Cameron and Katie Taylor.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. There is a rematch clause. You're correct.
And Katie Taylor, after the fight, she did say that, yeah, we're going to go to the rematch. We're not going anywhere. I think she wants to avenge this loss. And also will be back in Ireland too.
Yeah.
Probably at Croke Park now that she's lost. Like it'd be even a bigger fight.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I think that what's her name dropped the ball there. Amanda Serrano.
Yeah.
I think Amanda. I don't know if it was a fake injury or not, but yeah, it was crazy.
Because whenever Katie Taylor moves up in weight, because she's done it before when he fought McCaskill, she doesn't look good, man. Like, even though she won that McCaskill fight, but still McCaskill gave her a beating. Like, if you look at Katie Taylor's face in the post-fight press conference, man, it looked like it was McCaskill that won. So I think 135 is. I don't think she's that fighter where like she's Amanda Serrano where she can move up and down in weight. I don't think she's that girl. I think she's like a 135 fighter, and that's it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, I mean, we got Mauricio Lara next week. See what happens, man. We got Spence Crawford in July. They're saying.
That's not fight's not happening. But Tio and what Taylor is fighting too.
Yeah, they're fighting in June. That fight's right around the corner.
Who do you like in that fight?
I like Josh Taylor big.
I
like Josh Taylor big.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for Josh Taylor too. Yeah, I just think there's too many stuff that's going on in Tio's life, man. I don't know. Also, Beebs, there's another one too. What's his name? The 147 fighter, Golden Boy. What's his name? Virgil Ortiz versus
Stanionis. They're rescheduling that one.
Who'd you like in that one?
I like Virgil Ortiz.
Beebs, I'm worried about Virgil Ortiz. This is the second time where he's pulled out of a fight where it's about his conditioning or his health or whatever.
Yeah, it's not problem. Good.
Yeah. Because he's still young. Like, I understand if he was old, right? But when you're young, dude, you should be like flying and like, you know, your hormones are going up and down. You should be fine, man. But the fact that he's having these problems now, I don't know, man. It worries me.
Yeah, I agree, man. I definitely agree. Well, Penny, I don't know. I think we covered everything, man. Been on for like an hour, but I appreciate it, man. Make sure you watch us tonight, man, at about 6 p.m. Eastern time, man. We'll be back live tonight. Eric and I will be we'll have some good, interesting debate on this fight. I'm sure the callers will all call in and talk shit about Haney and say how bad how bad of a robbery it was, but it'll be fun, man.
I gotta be careful because I do it when I'm at work because I'm back in the office now, and the manager behind me he thinks that I'm actually like doing work because I'm typing really fast because I'm trying to respond to like MAW or like Centurion or pugilism. So because I'm typing really fast, I'm trying to reply to these guys. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. People think behind me that I'm actually doing work, but really I'm not.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, brother. Catch up with you, man. Have a good one. Thank you, everyone in the chat. We'll make sure you check us out, Ringside Reporter Podcast tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll catch up, man. Have a good one, everybody.